In this episode, we're going to put a new gasket on our front valve cover.
You're watching Kodokuna Raida.
Howdy. Well, today, while we've got this engine pulled down so far, it's a great chance to remove this front valve cover and put a new gasket on it. I've already done the rear one, but this one is a little bit more difficult to get into, but it's a perfect opportunity. So let's get started. Okay, I've got the rear 4 bolts out okay, but these front 4s are a little bit more awkward. So what I think I'm going to have to do is just loosen off the radiator and pull it forward, and it might allow me to get it either from the front or more space from here. I've actually got a little bit more room, but you know what? There's only a couple of little clamps, so I'm just going to pull the radiator off and then I can get in there really, really easy. Okay, well, removing that front radiator has given us so much more room. So let's go ahead and get these last 4 bolts out. I was able to get every bolt out with my socket, but this last one, it's in there a little bit difficult, so I'll have to get a little Allen key and pull it out by hand. Okay, we've got all the bolts out, so now let's see if we can slide it out. The biggest problem when you do slide either your rear one or your front one is getting over your timing chain here. So hopefully we've got enough room, we can just lift it up and slide it out. Oh, and it's out. That just fits in. When you're getting it out, it just squeezes past. I had to use a screwdriver to give it a little bit of a leverage, but that is really, really tight. I think this is the type of job on this front rocker cover. If you don't have to do it, don't do it. Oh, it's a pain. You can do it, but it's really, really tough. But we've got it off now. I'm happy. The gasket is like a rock. It's hard and just breaks. Look at that. It's broken. So let's get it all cleaned up, put another gasket on it and put it back on. Okay, so I've cleaned all our valve cover up and I've got our new gasket here. So first I'll just fit it all and then I'll show you what I do just to make it a little bit easier to get it in. So first let me put all this back together. So as you'll see here, you've got little wiggles. So you've got to find on your rubber where the little wiggles are to make sure you get it in the right place. Okay, so as you can see, as I'm putting in, it's just popping out. So there's only one way that I know of that you can do it, and you have to glue it in. You can get a little bit of silicone and stick it in, or you can get a bit of super glue and put it in a couple of corners and hold it in. Now, you might have your own way, but you've got to stick it in. You saw how hard this is to put it in and out. If you don't get it stuck in with something, it's just going to fall out all the time. So I'm going to use a little bit of super glue in some of the corners just to stick it in place. Okay, so there we are. I put glue in places there, it's held in good. Like it's not glued in everywhere, but I've got to hold it in place. I'm putting nothing this side, of course. So we're ready to slide it in. Oh. So when you put these back in, you can put them either way, they're identical. Here's my engine. Now, when I was taking it out, it was hitting on these bits of metal here that stick out. And what I've done, because I've got a porta power here, is undone my two bolts and very, very gently just put a little bit of pressure here. So you can see the holes there. I've got, you know, half a hole, so maybe 3-4 millimeters there. Extra gap in here where the engine's gonna move back a little bit. So I'm hoping those couple of little millimeters here and a couple of millimeters here will help me get my cover back in a little bit easier, because that was crazy tight and I had to use a screwdriver to lever it out. So let's try and put it back in. Just before I get it in, let me show you what's inside here. If you haven't seen inside one before, so here is a camshaft, so overhead camshaft. Here is our timing chain that turns our camshaft, and deep down inside there, can I focus for you? Deep down inside there, you can see those two, there's one there and one there, they're valves that as this rotates, it's got a bump here, and that opens and closes those valves that gives us our inlet down here. And over the other side is our exhaust, which lets our exhaust down. So that is the same. Over here you can really see the high lobe here on our cam that pushes our valves open. So that's spinning around very, very fast. Our timing chain's good, not loose. So let's get it back together. Okay, fingers crossed. So here is the problem I spoke about. You can see I've got to come down here, but I'm hitting here. This is the problem I had getting it off. As we come up here, it's hitting here. Anyway, I'll just keep trying. I've got a lot of clearance this side because I've pushed it forward a little bit, which is good. So I'll keep trying to see if I can get it in. Oh, that side has gone in. Oh, I hope I can get this other side in. This is great, it's in. Okay, this side has slipped down and in. Let's go over the other side and see if we can get the other side in the same. Okay, so I hope you can see here the problem we've got. And we only need a couple of millimeters. I'm gonna get my porta power here and see if I can just move it a little bit. I'll loosen this nut off down here and see if it'll give us a little bit. You little beauty. Oh, it's in. I'll let the power go. That's great. So as you can see, this is really tight. Now, I have heard other guys say that they can just get it out. Mine was super tight. I loosened up my little engine mount nut down here, which just allowed it to move enough to get it in. So you might have to think about the same, a little jack in here or something to open it up if you can't get it out. But we got it out. It's really, really fantastic news. Let's get our bolts in and do it up. Here we have the tension for our cylinder head cover, 10 Newton meters or 7.2 foot per pounds. Oh, even spark plug we have, look, 17.5 Newton meters or 12.5 foot pounds. Oh, and there we are. Now, I have to have a little break now because I want to paint the engines. So here we go. Well, how's that? Doesn't that look different now? I painted the front half of the frame, the engine. I'll take it around the other side. It looks heaps better now. I'm really, really happy. So now that that's all painted, we're ready to put our radiator back in. So set you up and let's get going. And there it is, radiator's all back on and it's all back together. Well, not all back together, of course, because we're still waiting for parts to rebuild our carbies and put all that back together. But I hope that helps you if you want to, or you have to maybe even. Thanks very much. Always remember, drive like you know each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
And out it comes again.